and streaming on CBS News Boston. WBZ News starts now with a next weather alert.
Well, we begin with that next weather alert as we take a look over the city on your Friday. Good morning and thanks for joining us. It is February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm Brianna Pitts. We are in a next weather alert heading into the weekend. Jacob Wyckoff is here with the latest forecast. Jacob, things are going to start to get real interesting Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday evening things will go downhill. We already have winter storm watches posted for areas outside of Boston through Middlesex County, western Essex County, and central Massachusetts for Worcester County. These are the areas that will likely be impacted greatest from the wintry weather, but we're all going to be dealing with the impactful storm that arrives this weekend. Right now we're sitting at 26 degrees in Bedford, 29 in Boston, 23 in Worcester, upper 20s, low 30s out towards the Cape and Islands. Dry on our satellite and radar. It's going to be a really sunny day today. Unfortunately, we also have some wind to contend with. Wind sustained 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour at times. Upper 20s, low 30s for our highs. We have a wind advisory through 4 p.m. Friday, as I mentioned, out of the northwest, 40 to 50 miles per hour. Now, this weekend, we turn our attention to the first snowflakes that start to fly as early as, let's say, 6, 7 p.m. These will overspread the area, and we have a really consistent period, almost 10 to 12 hours of snowflakes before we start to see milder air spinning in. That is going to switch us over to some sleet, freezing rain, and rain. The second half of Sunday afternoon is going to be really busy as you go into Worcester County. I think our icing threat there is going to be a big concern. Through some of the higher elevations, we could see a quarter to a half inch of freezing rain. That could cause some power outages. So looking at here, we all start as snow, changing over to ice on Sunday. Meanwhile, rain as you go from Cape Ann to Boston and the southeastern coastline. We'll have another check of this part of the forecast, Brianna, coming up in just a few minutes.
This morning, we are learning more about President Trump's plan to slash jobs and shrink the government. CBS News sources say hundreds of federal workers have gotten layoff notices, with many more to come. Jared Hill has the latest from New York.
This morning, hundreds of federal workers are out of a job, and thousands more are bracing for sweeping layoffs. Speaking virtually at a World Summit Thursday, Elon Musk, head of President Donald Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, said entire federal departments should be deleted.
If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back.
CBS News has learned recent federal hires still on probationary status across several departments have received termination notices. Same for about 1,000 workers at the Department of Veterans Affairs as of yesterday.
9 million veterans are watching you give them the middle finger. And we're not going to stand for it.
U.S. officials have also confirmed that DOJ employees are examining the IRS. Though yesterday, President Trump told reporters he doesn't plan to close the agency.
Just about everybody's going to be looked at.
The president also signed an executive order directing his administration to look at imposing tariffs to match those that other countries put on U.S. goods. Critics warn it could hurt efforts to fight inflation.
Prices could go up somewhat short term, but prices will also go down.
The president argued those reciprocal tariffs would level the playing field for American workers. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Well, Massachusetts is joining a new lawsuit challenging Elon Musk's power within the federal government. Attorney General Andrea Campbell signed on to a multi-state suit yesterday, saying Musk's Department of Efficiency was created illegally because it wasn't approved by Congress. 13 other state attorneys general are also part of the suit. Well, the cost of cruising in and out of Boston is about to get more expensive, and the cost of hailing a ride to the airport could follow suit. WBZ's Laura Hafley is at Logan this morning with a look at added costs for travelers and the impact those funds will have.
Massport would like to increase ride app driver fees to $15 per round trip to Logan Airport by 2027. Here's why. The airport agency says last year they saw a record-breaking 43 million passengers pass through the airport, 30% of whom relied on rideshare drivers. Now they're just expecting that number to grow, and they say they just don't have the infrastructure to handle the additional vehicles. They say a fee like this could help with improvements, maybe even expansions, so they can do so. But drivers say a decision like this could cripple their ability to make money.
The market's oversaturated with drivers right now, so the fare's not as good as it used to be. The airport is one of the places you're guaranteed really to get a ride. Sometimes it takes a while, but you are guaranteed to get a ride.
Now, while Massport is still discussing those rideshare fees, they have approved the decision to add a $15 fee to cruise ship travelers. This is to help fund a $105 million improvement project to the Flynn Cruise Port. This project includes an additional boarding area, an additional boarding bridge, and the ability for those cruise ships to use the electrical supply on shore as opposed to their own diesel fuel. Outside of Logan Airport, Laura Hafley, WBZ News.
State regulators have approved an increase in health insurance plan deductibles starting next year. This week, the Massachusetts Health Connector Board voted to raise the minimum credible coverage deductible limit for individuals to $3,200. It's a $250 hike. For families, it will go up $500 to $6,400. The change means residents may have to pay more out of pocket, but it offers flexibility to insurance companies and employers to tackle rising care costs while creating health plans. Well, a Boston hockey team is back home this morning. They say they were taken off an airplane because of the weight of their wheelchairs. This incident happened during a recent trip overseas. WBZ's Penny Commit joins us in the studio with the details on this, Penny.
Well, Brianna, these para-athletes, they're with the Boston Whiplash Vault hockey team, and they took home a bronze at a very intense international competition in Sweden, which is so awesome for them. But what should have been a time of celebration was cut short by frustration and confusion after they were forced off of their flight home. Now, this happened just about 5 minutes before their Scandinavian Airlines flight was supposed to take off from Copenhagen, Denmark. The athletes say that at no point during booking or check-in did the airline or disability services say that their wheelchairs were too heavy, yet that's the reason they were kicked off this plane. They also say that they brought those same 400-pound wheelchairs on that same flight to Denmark. So a lot of confusion here. The team had to wait an entire day for answers. They were eventually put back on the same sized airplane and taken home to Boston.
Didn't know if I was going to have enough medicine to make it the rest of the time, not knowing when this flight home was going to be.
Kind of disgusted. I mean, so many people with disabilities have to go through this horrible stuff all the time, and it's just not right.
The airline responded saying that this was a misunderstanding over a special permit that's required for heavier wheelchairs, adding that they deeply regret the impact this had on the team's travel and are working to ensure this doesn't happen again. And Brianna, hopefully this is the last time.
A pretty big mistake on their part. Okay, Penny, thanks. Now to an update on the carbon monoxide emergency at a daycare in Kittery, Maine. Investigators say construction is to blame. They say a propane-powered saw being used by a crew in another part of the building released the dangerous fumes. The problem sent 7 kids and 4 adults to the hospital. Officials also say that the work crew did not have the proper permits. After nearly 120 years, the St. Stanislaus School, a Catholic school in Fall River, is shutting down. The diocese made the announcement this week, citing decreased enrollment, difficulties collecting tuition, and debt. School leaders say that staff will be given priority for positions at any of the 4 other Catholic elementary schools in the city. That school first opened in 1906. It was the first school for Polish Catholic children in the state. Well, the Healy administration is moving to close a state-run hospital in Canton to cut costs. Pappas Rehabilitation Hospital for Children is home to dozens of kids with special needs. Families and staff tell the I-Team they were never consulted. And as WBZ Chief Investigator Cheryl Fiandaca tells us, the plan includes moving kids to a different hospital on the other side of the state.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Families call what happens at Pappas Rehabilitation Hospital pure magic.
They make progress, and you see it, and you celebrate it.
Built more than a century ago to aid severely disabled children and young adults, Pappas is a state-run residential pediatric facility and is now in danger of closing.
Do you like math?
Maybe.
Billy Alish is one of the many kids who live at Pappas.
He wouldn't be where he is right now if he was just at home.
Much more than a rehabilitation hospital, the facility has a school with real classrooms, a handicapped accessible pool, and therapies like horseback riding, all designed to help residents like Billy gain independence.
He is able to express himself. You know, he can talk, you know, and socially he has friends. He can't walk because he has cerebral palsy, but that doesn't stop him from, you know, achieving what he wants to achieve.
So you wrote this? Yeah. At 11, Billy wrote a book about his dad who passed away.
How did you write the book?
S-P-E-C-H, speech. So he dictated to speech therapy what he wanted to write. Want to do this one?
Billy now uses a device that lets him control his computer with his eyes, giving him the freedom to do what most kids do.
This one?
Yeah. Despite success stories like Billy's, last month, Governor Healey put Pappas on the chopping block, claiming closing it will save millions.
I think of it as a redirecting of services, of care.
To think they're just a budget issue
And these are hard, I'll say.
will never sit well with me. They're more than a line on a budget. They are human beings that just do things in a different way. I just feel betrayed. They'll have the logo put on them.
Teachers and nurses telling the I-Team they were blindsided and had no idea the Healey administration was planning on relocating their kids to a hospital in the western part of the state, far from their doctors and caregivers.
There are humans behind those numbers. There's people. And they're people that deserve to be loved and appreciated and accepted and to have a place that is theirs, not a place they can be put in as an afterthought. Pappas was again built for them.
Their passion catching the attention of political leaders who announced the governor was reconsidering closing the hospital.
Perhaps an immediate closure is not warranted. So that is good news in the very short term.
Cowboys?
Not out of the woods, families say they will continue to fight to save Pappas.
For the people who are making the decision to get rid of this, I don't think they know what they're talking about. Who are you to make the decision? Don't you think we should decide on this as a community?
On Wednesday, Senate and House leaders said they were caught off guard by the plans and pledged to scrutinize Healey's proposal. The I-Team reached out to the Department of Health for comment. It said the administration is looking forward to collaborating on the best setting for the children. Cheryl Fiandaca, WBZ News.